music?
Yes.
You probably have several.
Yeah.
Now just imagine you switched on one of your favourite pieces of music. You lay down on the sofa and the music starts. Do you notice that the melody and rhythm starts to affect you? Do you become aware that your mood is starting to change? Do you start to visualise familiar memories associated with that music? Is it any wonder they call music the universal language? World champion David Brooks once said, "Conduct your speech like a symphony." Well, he got the musical analogy right, but I don't think we should limit ourselves just to classical music. I think we should draw on our own favourite types of music for inspiration. My first love was the blues, and as Rick Stein once said, that indefinable feeling that comes straight from the soul. Well, that's all very well for keeping past emotions alive, but the best thing the blues ever did was have a baby. Yes, the blues had a baby, and they called it rock and roll. Now, rock and roll was a sensation. It resonated with teenagers and teenagers at heart all over the world. It was a totally new phenomenon in that it combined new technology with creativity and had a full global impact. And as the Beatles said, it's got a backbeat, you can't lose it. But a piece of music which is just a backbeat doesn't resonate. One of my favourite self-improvement gurus, a chap by the name of Robin Sharma, I'd read one of his books, and when I found out that he was going to be at a conference I was going to, I was really looking forward to it. And he came out on stage and he was really passionate and he gave this high-octane delivery and he had some really good stuff, but after a while he started to sound like So I kept on taking notes, but basically tuned out of his presentation. You see, he kept up the same intensity for the whole 60 minutes. And likewise, a piece of music can't be just a backbeat. And in the blues and rock and roll, as well as a backbeat, we also have the slide guitar riff, the haunting harmonica backup, and of course, the sax solo. What these instruments do, together with changes in tempo, is allow the vocalist to modulate their voice. And we all know the meaning of modulate, don't we? Tell them, Arlene. Valerie?
Yeah.
Harris?
Alter and adjust the voice fittingly in alterance.
Wow. Could you repeat that?
Okay. Alter or adjust the voice fittingly in alterance.
Thank you. Alter or adjust the voice fittingly in utterance. I want you all to commit that to memory. It's only 8 words. It's too important a notion not to have readily on hand when you're about to make a point or tell a story. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, but I need your help. Everyone repeat the words, make a point, tell a story.
Make a point, tell a story.
When I go like this, say, make a point, tell a story.
Make a
point, tell a story.
When I first joined Toastmasters, my mentor said to me,
make a point, tell a story.
When I gave my first speech, my evaluator said to me,
make a point, tell a story.
When I bombed out of my first speech contest, everyone said, I should have won. But I didn't, because I didn't.
Make a point, tell a story.
Okay, 4 years later, I've been thinking about this. All you have to do to keep the audience attention is to
make a point, tell a story.
Okay. I get it. Make a point, tell a story. Well, telling a story is the easy part, but how do you make a point stick? How do you put a point into a little crystal and fire it into the brains of your audience and the outer shell melts and it manifests and sticks? Well, this is where we go back to the blues and rock and roll and the old step on it, Joe Walsh slide guitar riff. Do you remember Barack Obama's first presidential election campaign? Not the one last year, the one back in 2008, where he virtually came out of nowhere. And in the words of INXS, got a hold on you, a new sensation. He treated us to some of the finest speeches in history. Speeches that were beautiful both to hear and read. Speeches that won him a Nobel Peace Laureate. But did you notice every so often he'd slot in this guitar riff? Every so often he'd come out with, and we will respond with that timeless creed that best sums up the spirit of the people. Yes, we can! And all the big mamas, they're all dancing in the street, and the whole world was inspired. And the melody of his voice roused the people as they joined in with the rhythm of the words and, oh, give me the beat, boy! Free my soul! I want to get lost into rock and roll, drift away. But I can't, because I have to finish this speech. But the blues and rock and roll just didn't give us the slide guitar riff, or the haunting harmonica, or the sax solo. It also gave us the crescendo. Think crescendo, think Bob Seger, Hollywood Nights. Higher and higher and higher they climbed. Above all the lights. She had all of the skills. A crescendo is a gradual increase in volume and force. And the trick is, don't neglect the force. So when it comes to a crescendo, the point you make when you're making a point has got to be the point that makes the point. That the point you give it is your most important point. So the point you want to make as a point in the speech, where the point has the most impetus and you can really give it to her. And then you pause and let that point sink in. And then you modulate your voice again and come in at a lower key and start telling another story about how you can put a bit of rock and roll into your speeches and how you could become a rock star on the podium and how you can acquire what all good rock and rollers have, a memorable ability to open hearts, change minds, and move nations.